I'm so glad I got that cough drop.
Me too, me too.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margo.
I
We're live. Okay.
love it when we're actually in a fight.
Pause it. I don't know. Yeah, that actually is the
The diffuser.
reality diffuser for arguments. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is, as Nicole said, a Christmas miracle.
Yep.
We had stuff at our kids' school this morning, and we have something else this
She
afternoon.
didn't really enjoy it, so she said, "I want to go." I said,
Yep.
"Okay.
Okay, it's time
Let's
to go.
go.
And we wound up with a little extra time. So hey, it's Friday Live. It's a little bit later than usual.
Yeah.
A little bit unexpected. You may also be wondering, since I put up my little
Yeah.
my post about being gone,
Yeah.
like taking a break, and here I am
Surprise!
doing a live show. But you know what? We wanted to get one more in. Also, the real excuse is we wanted to be able to wear these T-shirts.
Honestly, I was really excited about the shirt.
Like if we didn't do it now, we'd have to wait till next
And
year to do this
unfortunately,
again.
Dougie got a hold of the package and got into your shirt.
Yeah, so you could see a little bit of teeth marks from
Yeah.
a little 1-year-old bulldog that's a
Yes.
giant pain in the butt.
Yay.
So it's Friday Live. I'm Mark,
And I'm Nicole.
and we are here to talk about
We
some
should
woodworking
be
stuff.
Todd and Margo.
I am Todd,
And I am Margo.
and the carpet's wet, and the CD player is
Yeah.
broken. You know,
Yeah.
my fine collection of CDs that I put in my nice little horizontal CD player that probably cost me $1,000.
Oh my gosh. Novacano09 is watching us from a dentist chair.
Oh goodness gracious!
It kind of fits his name. No
You know what?
kidding.
You know what sucks? I got to go back to the dentist because I have a feeling like all of my installed in the '80s fillings are all like they overfilled the tooth, so there's very little tooth left.
Oh no.
And now in my 40s, they're all cracking. So I'm getting crowns left and right, and I have a feeling I got another one coming.
Oh, that stinks.
What a crappy thing for me to have to deal with, right?
Nice Christmas gift.
Yeah. So, all right. So we do have a couple of things to cover
We do.
today. I was glad we were able to do the show.
Yeah, you just cranked out a project.
Cranked out a project. I got a Woodpeckers thing, a one-time tool deal that you guys should definitely check out. And I also have a pair of safety glasses that I want to show you. Crap, the other ones are over there. But
Didn't you tell me to put my mic on?
oh, you probably should. Well, since you don't have it on, go get that orange pair of safety glasses. Good timing. All right, yeah, you're not missing Christmas dinner, man. I agree with you. That's my fear, though, is a lot of times with these things that necessitate crowns, they happen suddenly, and you're chewing on, something maybe a little crunchy, and you feel something that doesn't actually,
Should be there.
it's definitely not food in your
Yeah.
mouth, and you go, crap, I just chipped a tooth.
So
and then it's
I
like
will
an
be
emergency.
pulling questions from the YouTube chat.
Yeah, all we have is live questions.
Yeah,
today.
because I put on Patreon that we weren't going to do a show, so I'm sorry, Patreon, I psyched you out.
And we lied.
Sorry.
And by the way, patreon.com/woodwhisperer if you want to help us out with recurring donation thing. And this will be the last show for the year. So let's get into it. First of all, I wanted to tell you guys about prescription safety lenses. This is something that I've gotten into recently because I suddenly had to wear glasses. And I find them a little bit...
Me too.
yeah, Nicole as well. And she's not wearing them today.
Because I need them.
I've committed.
I need distance.
You need some distance.
When it's close up, it gets blurry with the glasses. So no.
Okay. So anyways, when I first discovered I would need these, I decided to go to, I can't remember the name of the company.
Tactical RX?
No. The company I got these from.
Oh, yeah.
So I ordered from maybe Frames Direct or something. And this is the only one that I could really find with some good Google searches, and I found these. And they work just fine. They've got some nice side protection, as well as this foam gasket around the top here, which actually is a little bit annoying because it pops out very easily. I might have to super glue that in. Well, since then, a company called Tactical... Now, do you think they call themselves Tactical RX or Tactical Prescription? Because RX is short for prescription,
Oh, that's true.
right? I'm going to assume they went with Tactical RX because that sounds very cool. This is a company that if you look at them, I mean, you could tell by the camo here, they seem to specialize in folks who are like going to shooting ranges, all right? Gun users, all right? Tactical RX. But I think they're getting into folks like us who are working around, sometimes
Are
equally
they a local
dangerous
company?
equipment. They are local to Denver.
Oh, that's
And this
cool.
is why they got my attention, is because it's not some no-name internet company. These guys are in Denver, and they offered to make me a pair of glasses. So they sent me a bunch of frames.
Are those the ones?
These are those.
Oh, those are nice.
They have a bunch of different frames. They have one that made me look like Buddy Holly, which I chose not to use. I think they call it the Mad. They all have cool names for their frames too. It's called like the Mad Scientist, I believe. This particular set here is called Mount Falcon, and the reason I got these is because on this set, I have a lot of visual interference here between the side dealies. It's thicker plastic, it's got a thicker rim, so I wanted something that actually gave me a better field of view. And these guys, I mean, look at the shape on that. So they don't have the side protection, but that's because there's so much curvature to these that it provides all the protection I would need. And these are the most like a traditional set of safety glasses for the shop. So again, these are called Mount Falcon. And they have my prescription, and it's great. I will say initially it takes a little bit of getting used to because of that excessive curvature. If you're not used to it, it can be a little bit weird at first. But once I got used to it, had it on for about 15 minutes, and then it was just part of my face. So this is not an ad. They did send me a free set of protective eyewear. But it's a local Denver company. I say support these guys if you can. I'm not sure what country manufactured these for me. But it wasn't a local Denver company. So yeah, Tactical RX. Check those guys out if you are visually deprived. Visually impaired sounds a little aggressive. I like deprived. Okay, so that's that.
You want to do that, or you want me?
Let's do a question.
Let's do a question.
Here's a little hint of what's to
Gazang
come.
says, with your voyage towards low VOC finishing, is there any reason you don't use shellac more often, or is shellac worse for me than I thought?
Shellac's not that bad. I'm not really the person to ask about the health benefits of using shellac versus a traditional oil-based finish or lacquer. Bottom line is shellac does have alcohol in it. Alcohol isn't exactly something you want to breathe a lot of, but I would guess that it's probably not as bad as a petroleum distillate, but it's still something, right? And you still don't want to get it on your hands. The low VOC finishes, a lot of the stuff that I'm looking for are no VOC finishes. I mean, you could use your bare hands with these things if you wanted to. You don't have to have, they always have an odor, but it's one of those things like you walk past a person with too much perfume on, and you go, wow, that's not going to kill me, but that sure stinks. So that's actually how I feel about Rubio Monaco. It's not going to kill you, but it sure stinks.
I don't think it stinks. I like the smell.
A lot of people like it. To me, it smells like,
I was like, oh, I like the smell.
It smells like a smoke shop. It smells like raw tobacco. That's the same thing like perfume.
Yeah.
Some people find it very pleasant. Other people don't. And you, for instance, anytime a guy's wearing too much. Now. You don't smell like it though.
Well, I usually spray it I don't spray it here.
Well, anytime my stepdad wore too much cologne, Nicole is just like, she doesn't like it. Anyways, so yeah, with low and no VOC finishes, you don't have to provide as much ventilation. So they're just more pleasant to work with. I just enjoy working with them better. Whoa, what was that?
Is there bubble in your...
No, my throat just decided not to open when I expected it to. A product like Osmo, for instance, they have a no VOC product, which I have over there, and I have to check it out. I've been using the stuff that does have VOCs in it, but here's the thing with VOCs as well. They are not all created equal. There are some that are a little bit more environmentally friendly and better for you than the more traditional ones. So it's very tricky chemically to get into this stuff, and that's kind of why I'm experimenting with it so much, because I want to be able to pass that info on to you guys.
Speaking of shellac, Baron Bale says, first time watching live. I applied shellac to a project to seal a glaze. Is there a problem waiting until spring to top coat with Armor Seal?
Not at all. I mean, as long as you are keeping it in a good condition and not exposed to elements or anything, that finish will just be more cured by the time you go to finish it in April. The good thing about shellac is it cures very quickly. It's, once the alcohol evaporates, there isn't much time between that and where you would call it fully cured or ready to be top coated with something else. So it's very short, but no harm will come to it if you wait longer.
I feel like this is the finishing show because I got another finish. I feel like people are wrapping up their projects.
Everybody's rushing. Can you recommend a finish that will dry in 5 minutes? Sure. So
let me do the last finishing question.
Woman, you keep interrupting me.
Well, it's my job.
Okay, go ahead.
Scotty476 says, is a salad bowl finish still your preferred finish for cutting boards?
I talked about this last week, I believe.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think I brought it up. Maybe it was in a guild meeting. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I've kind of flip-flopped on this, and not because I think the rules of the game have changed, but because my particular tastes have changed. So these days, while I still think a salad bowl finish from General Finishes, which is actually just a wiping varnish, while I still think that's fine to put on a cutting board if you do it in the way that I showed in that video, I personally probably wouldn't do that anymore. I would probably use something like tried and true oil, like a polymerized tongue oil, even Mahoney's. I got a bottle of it sitting right there, Mahoney's walnut oil. I want to use a no VOC oil, but something that actually cures. So mineral oil is not going to be my go-to choice for something like that. So if you take like a polymerized tongue oil, let's say tried and true, which actually is a polymerized linseed oil, very similar. Take a product like that, maybe melt a little beeswax in it. That's a great finish for a cutting board or any kitchen utensil. And that's probably what I would use these days. But again, the old finish is just fine, but where I'm at in my life, I'm reducing chemicals, not adding dangerous chemicals, I should say, and not adding more, even though I still think once that salad bowl finish is cured, it's perfectly safe for kitchen use. Just my opinion.
Our cutting board.
Our cutting board was initially finished that way, and it's just been maintained with more oils, oil and wax finishes.
All right, get to your
Okay, now I need a drink,
doohickey. I have a cough drop if you would like one.
Maybe. So my mom put this, and here's the thing, even if my mom's watching, I called her, texted her, I said, hey, can I ruin a Christmas surprise for you? Because I'm going to want to talk about this. And she said, oh, I guess. That's what she said, and I basically sent her pictures of this. So on my mom's wish list on Amazon, I saw this bamboo knife holder, in-drawer knife holder, and I looked at it and thought, well, it's 20 bucks. That's a pretty cheap, for what it is. It's pretty inexpensive, but I could probably build one. And it's that classic like woodworker misconception that if you build it yourself, it's going to be cheaper. Only if you don't value your time.
Yeah.
Okay, because this took me 2 days. The material isn't very, there's not much here. It's just 3/4 inch boards. In fact, this was made from some of that flooring that my neighbor left for me, which is why my neighbor also received one of these. I made 2.
Lucky Jim and Maha.
So Jim and Maha got a set just like this one, including their flooring, which is kind of cool. So it's Brazilian cherry or Jatoba, as some people may call it, or Jotoba.
Jotoba.
And the lighter color is just regular old cherry that I had sitting around. So it holds 11 knives. You see these little slots here. It actually will hold them on each one of these pieces, and then you can put another set of knives between the pieces, and that goes in this gap here. It's held in with, it looks a little grainy, the image. Anyway, it's held in with a sliding dovetail, and I've got 3 of those along the length. Just a fun, simple project. This, like I said, took about 2 days. Quick lacquer finish on it. It's not something that should be exposed to wet conditions. You put knives in here when they're dry. Drop this thing in the drawer.
In the drawer, right?
It goes in the drawer. Yeah, someone asked me about wall hanging. Not with this. You would need to really redesign this thing and probably involve magnets in it if you were going to do some kind of a wall hanging thing. But this is meant to be in a drawer. I did film it, and I have a video coming out. This is one of the 2 or 3 videos that are just in the hopper waiting for 2019, and we'll bust those out in January. No plan for this because I essentially copied it from a design I saw on Amazon, and it feels a little icky. Like, I'm admitting that I'm copying this thing, but giving you a template and plans, it just feels weird. It's not that hard to do. I just did it by hand. I didn't have a template or plans.
Says the guy that just built it.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying.
Listen, I have a very...
hear, like, oh, it's so easy to do. Well, then just give me the plans.
No. Making the plans is extra work for me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying draw it and build it.
Yeah. So somebody asked where we got the shirts. Alex did. I got it from a website that I'm not going to say because I'm not actually happy with the shirts. But I did order, because Dougie ate that, I did order a second set from Amazon, and I put them in.
The first company?
They're all over Amazon.
Okay. Why aren't you happy with it?
I'm not happy with
overall the quality.
The quality.
The print is a little worn.
Yeah.
And it's it's brand new.
So I have a second set of, and it's actually a second pair. I put them in underneath Mark's t-shirts on Amazon.com/shop/woodwhisperer. And I was disappointed because had I been thinking, I would have gotten like a red shirt for you and a green shirt for me. And, yeah. Anyway.
They're cool as is. I think this is very much us.
So For next year, I got us a different set.
Well, we mentioned it at the beginning. There's so many times where we'll notice the other person is just being unreasonably angry and snippy.
Sometimes you
and
know,
this
you have a day.
line from Christmas Vacation has pulled us immediately out of a potential argument or something just by making the person realize they're being a Margo or a Todd in this case.
Yeah, it's usually me.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd? Okay.
I love it.
More questions before I do?
I do have
a woodpecker.
I have some super chats too.
Oh my gosh.
Stumptown Woodwork says, I want to get into spraying more. What's a good starter setup? No big compressor. I have a Graco True Coat, but it's good for paint really.
Yeah, those airless sprayers, you know, a lot of them, especially the new ones, claim to be able to do clear finishes. I had one, I experimented with it, I had a hard time getting a good finish out of it. I believe true HVLP is the way to go. Great starter set, we work with Fuji. Fuji's been great to us, they make great gear. They used to only have like a couple models, and now they have all kinds of things for all levels. So you can get into their Hobby Pro, Semi-Pro, honestly I don't even know all the differences between them. And then they have more of their top of the line Q3, Q4, Q5. I have a Q5 Platinum because I need to have the most expensive thing available. It's just part of who I am, Nicole.
Alec just said Fuji mini mites versus Q3, 4, or 5.
Yeah, and then you have the mini mite. Basically, the Q series is Q for quiet, so they have insulation in there that makes the turbine a little quieter. The mini mite is basically the same unit without the noise reduction. So if you are in a situation where the noise doesn't matter that much, and let's be honest, the noise isn't that much. It's like a loud vacuum cleaner. But I always have the Q just because it's nice to just pull sound down whenever you can. But the mini mites are really great, powerful units, and then again, their newer line of more entry-level stuff, if you're just getting into it, it's still great quality, but it's a little bit less expensive. All right, so I would definitely recommend a Fuji turbine, no compressor needed, it's all in one system. We just had a guild meeting, and I gave away their conversion gun, right, to someone, because I have a really small compressor now, and I have this turbine here and a couple of different guns for it, so I've got what I need. I just like that self-contained system. I don't have to be tethered to a compressor. I mean, I'm tethered to a big square box.
That's true.
But it's not that heavy. I can move it around, and I can be mobile if I need to.
Wait a minute. What's the name of this episode?
Oh, I don't know.
I think you still had the Santa giveaway.
Maybe.
Whoops. We're not giving away anything. We'll give away a project.
Oh, you want to? We'll give away a project. Yeah, sorry about that. The title, sometimes I type that in on the computer. I put that in ahead of time. And then on my iPad, all I can do is hit stream now, and I can't control the title. So apologies for the confusion there, folks.
Michael Campbell did a super chat and said, Merry Christmas, Mark and Nicole.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
And Richard Meredith said, and Happy Festivus.
You know what? I still need. We should just have a permanent installation of a Festivus pole in the shop.
Yeah.
In the shop.
Sure.
In the house, it would be a little weird. Kids would be like, why is there an aluminum pole?
Yeah.
Okay. It has really good tensile strength, so I hear. Got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it.
Okay. Bring it.
You guys know woodpeckers, right? We talk about those guys all the time.
Well, not all the time.
Well, once before.
Yeah.
I mean.
Once is all, apparently.
Full disclosure, this is an ad, and they did pay for this privilege. But I do like the idea of telling you guys about these woodpecker tools, because the one-time tools, you got to make a quick decision on it.
Yeah, because this one goes pre-orders till the end of the month.
Till the end of the month, yeah. And you don't have a lot of information to go on other than the woodpecker ad. So what I like to do is, my role in this is to show you this thing firsthand, and then, if you guys have questions on it, I am here to answer honestly. I've got no skin in the game as far as how many of these they sell, but I am being paid to let you know about it so you can make an informed decision as to whether this is a good thing to buy. So what I have here is the Woodpeckers Corner Jig. Now, what's interesting about this is at first I looked at it, I'm like, is this really that useful? And part of the reason is because I often don't do this.
This is the deluxe one because there's like two.
There's two different versions.
Yeah.
But let me talk about the basic function here and the use case. Dang it, where's my test piece? I had a piece of scrap that I'll use this piece of plywood. I can't reach it. Can you give me a piece of wood over there?
Oh, I guess.
That big piece of cherry. So this isn't a profile like most people might think, a profile on the edge, which you would normally do with a router.
Did I put the right one?
Oh yeah, just blew dust in my water. Smart, smart. So when you think about profiles, most people think about the edge profile, just a nice round over. But with this, think about a tabletop. On a tabletop, you typically aren't going to want a really dead sharp corner, right? That square corner, it depends on what you're doing and where you're going to put it. If you have kids around, a nice sharp corner is a great trip to the ER. So a lot of times you want to put some kind of a round over. Now typically I do this with sandpaper and I do it by hand. But if you want something a little bit more substantial, or you want absolute consistency on those corners, doing it by hand may not be the best way to go. So that's where this guy comes in. It's basically a router jig that would go with a flush trim bit. So if you have a flush trim bit installed, the bearing of the flush trim bit rides along this surface here, and it applies a corner profile to whatever piece you're rounding. So I'm going to actually show you here. It slides on like this. So you see you've got stops on both sides, 90-degree angle goes right in there, and then you could just kind of start flush trimming along the edge, follow it around, and it copies whatever this profile is. So the kit that they include here, at least in this deluxe version, in shape that you would want.
Can I use it on a cutting board?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you would use it on the corner of a cutting board. So the great thing is you just very easily swap out this little piece here.
Peter says, I have that. I keep forgetting.
It is one of those things that you go, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to order it. You put it aside and
Yeah.
then forget that you have it. But don't do that. It's something you want to actually use. This has me excited because the chamfer is actually, I've grown to love chamfers in my 40s.
Okay.
It's a midlife thing. I don't know what's going on. But you basically unscrew this piece, screw the new one in, and then you got a quick access to whatever the profile is. And you've got chamfers all the way up to like this bad boy. That's huge. But you will get consistency on all four corners. It's a pretty handy thing.
I'd say it looks very solid.
Anything they make is so, I don't want to say over-engineered, but it's like that thing like, hey, this, you can see the meeting going, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
We're going to
Like,
take it to 11.
We're going to make the best damn corner jig ever invented. That's what Woodpeckers does.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So this, like I said, I've got the deluxe set here. There's another set. I'm imagining they might have like just the roundovers.
Yeah, they have.
Look at this.
So there's two.
Look at that profile.
Two things that you can.
That's awesome.
The corner jig.
That's
so the
these
deluxe
guys.
set is your deadline is till the end of the month, the
Okay.
31st. So the deluxe set is $389.
Mm-hmm.
The corner jig radius set is $289, and then the corner jig chamfer set is $199.
So if you know that you're doing like one, primarily you only do roundovers, you'll never use those chamfers, you can get that separately. Both of them most likely will come with the jig itself.
Right, and that's
that
why
attaches to it.
it's cheaper if you get the deluxe set.
And you know what else I'm going to start doing is letting people know which of these I'm keeping and which ones I'll be giving away. I don't know if my personal use case is useful information to people, but maybe it is. If you know how I do, if you know how I woodwork, you've seen enough of my videos, whether I need something or will use it might help you make a decision. So in this case, I am keeping this. This is just one of those things that in the past, I just I get a sanding block and I round it over and I just assume that because the corners aren't near each other, no one is going to see the difference. But it would be nice to actually get some consistency with that. So this is handy. I'm going to keep this around. All right, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. It's a pretty interesting thing.
Yeah, it's woodpeck.com is their website.
And by the end of the month, yes?
December 31st is when
Hey, Nathan Terapaki's here, the winner of the, what do you get? He won something. I think he got the Woodpecker squares in the giveaway,
I think
right?
so too, yeah.
The ones that are sitting in the box in the kitchen waiting for Nicole to ship out.
Awesome.
Hey, sorry.
Hey,
Okay.
I got
That's,
kids' Christmas parties to plan.
No excuses. That's all I have.
Okay.
So let's just do questions and then we'll get out of here.
We have a question from David Wiggins. Mark, when making an end grain cutting board, how do you prevent the edges from blowing out when you route the roundover?
No. That's a this is the
something
regular edge profile.
Oh, gotcha.
Use a nice sharp bit. You may even, if it's not too much of a roundover, you may start to employ some climb cutting techniques. That's always helpful. And you can also shape a little bit. And I will do this with a block plane or a hand sanding. it's a little bit more work, but ultimately, the more material you remove so that the bit is just doing that final pass. I like to remove some of that material ahead of time and make the bit's life a little bit easier. You can also take small cuts at a time. And especially if you've never really, like you haven't done it on that particular board yet, you can't be sure how it's going to behave. So when you get your plunge router set up, just take the lightest cut, right? Start with that and see what it does. If it starts to chip out like crazy, now you know you got to be very careful. But if that first pass is pretty good, then lower it a little bit more. Take a second pass. And the lighter those passes are, the less chance you're going to have it tearing out. If you go right to your finished dimension and just buzz around the cutting board, there's a much better chance that you're going to get tear out and it's going to look pretty bad.
We have a question from Justin Ford. Is there a reason you would choose cutting a dado with a dado stack instead of a router, where board side isn't limited by tool table size, particular dados in the jewelry box?
I feel like you asked this question somewhere else that I haven't answered yet. Generally speaking, I really prefer to make dados at the table saw whenever possible. If I can make it work at the table saw, I will. There are times that I don't, though, either because maybe the material thickness or the material thickness that's going into the dado. Maybe I have a particular reason why I want to use a router bit. I find it easier to sneak up on a particular size. But I find with the table saw, once you get that stack dialed in, you've got the fence there, it's just so much easier and so much faster. Right? If you use a router, it tends to be a lot slower, it's a lot more wear and tear on your bit and your router, and you got to make sure you are guiding your router either perpendicular or straight. It's just more involved, I think, with the router. So for me, the bottom line rule is I try to use the table saw whenever I can, and if I can't, usually the router is the solution to it. So there's going to be more specific use cases than that, but that's kind of just the general rule of thumb.
Britt wants to know, what's your favorite species of wood?
I haven't been asked that question in a long time.
It's been a while.
Boobinga! I don't really have a favorite. I like walnut and cherry these days for domestics. Most of the stuff in our house now is either walnut or cherry. But you know, I still have a love for the exotics. I was able to do a little. It's funny when you don't use exotics for a while and you go back to something like Brazilian cherry. You go, wow, this stuff is hard.
Yeah.
It definitely is a very different experience on your tools than using simple domestics like cherry and walnut.
Alec wants to know, do you feel a Fuji Minimite 3 is sufficient enough for diluted latex paints?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask them or you sort of look at the general consensus, if you're going to spray latex, your starting power is a 3-stage, and it just works better, you know, if it's a more powerful machine. You know, I've had mixed results trying to spray latex with a 3-stage, but it's not something that I do very often. So you may have to dilute, like you said. You may have to play with the tip and air cap sizes to get the right results. You may want to use something like Flow-Troll in there as an additive to help it flow out a little bit better. So it just kind of depends on the situation. So theoretically, yes, 3-stage should work. If you're going to do a lot of that, though, I recommend going for more powerful. Bump up to the 4-stage or the 5-stage because it'll be easier for you. It'll be less tinkering with the gun and the mixture itself to get the results you're looking for.
Yay! Brent says thanks so much. It was the first time he had his question answered.
Well, there you go.
It's because we canceled and there's nobody in the chat.
Yeah, we got nothing in the chat room. Nobody's here.
Nobody.
And everybody, they got angry that there's not actually stuff being given away, as the title said.
Well, no, somebody said it doesn't say that.
It doesn't?
Yeah, see, it just says Friday Live.
Okay, well, I'm very confused now. So.
Sorry, it's my fault.
So there's that.
We got a super chat from Let Passion Burn. I love you guys dunking on me.
Let passion burn.
I don't want to.
If it burns too much, you should go to the doctor.
Yeah, and Duncan, that would hurt.
What? Pouring Duncan on you?
Duncan on me.
If it's right out of the spigot.
Wilmore's World of Wood. Merry Christmas to you all and keep up the great shows.
Well, thank you so much, Wilmore.
Tiny Christmas trees.
Baby Christmas trees. That's so nice.
What
else we got?
We have a question from Nathan. Nathan, when you ask your question, you got to put it all together. I can't. He had multiple things.
Oh, Nathan. Come on, man.
When doing mortises recently with a router, I was trying to follow Mark's advice going down all the way one end and then then on the other, and then you work through the middle portion, and I was getting loud popping noises. Am I doing something wrong?
You might just be taking more material off than like in one shot than you should. The loud popping noises might be, and I can't be 100% sure because I can't hear it, but a lot of times if you are taking off too much stock at once, you'll get larger chips of material breaking off. And those will sort of spin around with the bit, and then when the bit makes contact with those large chunks, you get that snapping noise. So, you know, if you plunge at the beginning of the mortise, then plunge at the end, and then when you're going through, don't go to full depth when you finally do the clear out pass in the middle. Take it like a 1/4 inch at a time and see if that improves it. You want to pulverize the material into dust, not break it off in big chunks. Some of that, so it may be technique and how fast you're doing this or how deep you're cutting. It also may be the type of material. Some wood tends to splinter a little bit more, and you might get a little bit more of those large chunks coming out. But that's my guess on what that snapping is. Hopefully it's nothing more ominous than that.
Christopher Montgomery just did a super chat. He said, Merry Christmas, Bags. Mark, do you have any suggestion for reducing tear out on Purple Heart?
This is repeating a theme that we've talked about today. Going slow, making
Sharp
light
bits.
passes, using sharp, making sure you have brand new sharp bits, trying to reduce the amount of material that's being taken off by the bit, whatever way it takes to do that.
Right.
Deadpool's looking dusty.
He is looking a little dusty.
Yeah, he is. I got to do a shop blowout. It's just been a little chilly. Although it's going to be like over 50, almost 60 degrees today in Denver.
Yeah.
You got to put a little water on the lawn, maybe.
No, probably not. I'm sure it'll be cold tonight.
So, it's thirsty, Nicole.
Oh,
Do not
okay.
deny it.
All right.
A drink.
David just reminded me. He goes, I finally joined the guild today with the mirror frame project.
Oh,
Yay! Cool. It's on sale. So
that's
you can
really
get
inexpensive.
$28 you can get into the guild if you buy the mirror frame project.
Wow.
$28. You get lifetime membership.
It's a bargain.
That includes guild meetings, vendor discounts.
Interviews when I start doing them again.
So there's access to the
Facebook group.
Yep. All right. Christopher also said, seems like I can never get my blade sharp enough or the cut thin enough to prevent it. I end up using the 80 grit plane.
It's tricky. Some woods are just nasty. So you work around it or you just don't do it. Like, it's the nature of the beast, but small little bites is the way to go.
Richard says, water stones, oil stones, diamond stones. It's all too confusing. What do you recommend for someone new to sharpening? Don't we have a set that we put in the Amazon?
Probably.
It's like a pink and blue. There's like 5 stones.
That's the Sharpening stones.
The Sharpening ones.
But I don't know that that's a good recommendation for a beginner, because right now you need to focus on your foundations of sharpening and not focus so much on the medium that you're using to do it. Because here's the thing, they're all going to work.
Yeah.
You just have to stick with one. And that's the problem with sharpening, is a lot of times you get into it and you go, oh, these water stones are nice. I wonder how well these diamond stones work. Okay, let me try that. And then, oh, what's with these oil stones? You need to reduce how much stuff you're playing with. I would say a great way to start, a fairly inexpensive way to start, is to just get a 2-sided stone. If you want to step up, go even a little more simpler than that, there's what they call the scary sharp method, which uses sandpaper and like a glass or a granite plate. And you can do that as well. The medium is so much less important than, are you going to use a honing guide? If you are, which kind? Are you going to stick with the honing guide, or are you looking to sharpen by hand? You got to make those decisions first, and then the medium just becomes semantics. Okay, so I would recommend looking to scary sharp. That's the cheapest way to get into the world
I
of
thought you were saying
quality sharpening.
That's an actual brand, Scary Sharp.
It's a technique.
Oh.
It just involves using sandpaper. That's all.
Gotcha.
I don't know why. It seems like something someone trademarked at some point.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it's called Scary Sharp.
Scary Sharp.
And then if you want to get into the world of stones and you want to work with stones, then just get one of those 2-sided stones with like 1,000 and 6,000. 1,000 on one side, 6 on the other. And start with that and just learn how to sharpen, get the techniques under your belt, and then later do more research, figure out whether you want to go ceramic. Personally, oil stones aren't even on the menu for me. I don't like touching oil. So I like my water stones, and diamond stones are okay. You can commit to a diamond stone system. It's perfectly fine. Lots of people do it. But either that or water stones, or Sharpening ceramic stones, which are kind of a modified water stone. But
My
yeah,
batteries
keep it simple.
My battery's getting ready to die, so
All
we're
right.
gonna have to wrap this up. But Brett said I finally settled on diamond stone with a guide, and I made a depth stop for the guide so I can repeat my honing guide setup.
That's a great way to do it. And see what Brett's talking about is he's hammering out the way he's going to sharpen, the guide he uses, and the settings on that guide. He's knocking that out first, and then he just decided on diamond stones. But you could use that same system of setup with any sharpening system or any sharpening medium.
Jerry said is 1,000 and 8,000 fine for waterstone grits.
Yes, 1,008 is fine. I mean, a lot of people want to go higher. You want something lower if you need to really rehab a bevel or something like that, or flatten something for the first time. 1,000 is going to take a long time, but you could always combine things. Use some sandpaper. I do this. I find that a brand new sheet of sandpaper, if I really need to work a bevel that's been chipped or something, I'll go with a low grit sandpaper, work my way up to the point where I can just jump into the grits on my my stones.
The grits.
I'm jumping into the grits.
The grits.
Kiss my grits, Nicole.
Kiss my grits. I loved Alice.
Oh, that's so
my
nice.
goodness. Such a good
She
show.
appreciates it.
I loved it.
Okay, anything else?
We have some other questions, but like I said, my computer's getting ready to die, and I have to go prep for a Christmas party.
Okay.
So Aaron just said he loves the mentorship perk in the Guild Facebook group, and he's on his last week of the program, and Lane has been great.
That's
so
awesome.
I love hearing that, Aaron. Thank you so much for giving me that feedback.
Thanks for the feedback.
Thanks for the feedback. And Kyle Schmidt just did a super chat. Happy holidays to you, Kyle. Yeah.
So I think this is going to be our last
Yep,
broadcast for
it
the
is.
year. Okay, so we're done.
Yep.
We're taking a break. I am personally taking a break from social media. I will not
I'm
be
not.
back online. Well, she doesn't do anything anyway. She runs Dougie's account.
Yeah, if you want to see Dougie, our jerk of a bulldog. I was
Yeah.
going to use a worse word.
Yeah, no curses, Nicole.
Instagram.com/Dougie Spag.
Dougie Spag, D-U-G-G-E-E.
Yep. Just like Hey Dougie from the British cartoon. If you have
Everyone is going to know that
Hey,
reference.
if you have a toddler, you know about Hey Dougie.
Maybe, I don't
Hey
know.
Dougie.
So yeah, hey, have a great holiday season.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. And what else?
Enjoy your Christmas dinner. I think we're having turkey.
Are we?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I need to go pick it up.
I'm down with some turkey.
Yeah.
So hey, happy holidays, everybody. We really appreciate all the support.
Yes.
Friday Live is just becoming a very important thing for
It's
us.
fun. I
which
love
is
it.
so surprising. I just didn't think it would ever become something, but it's totally a morning show. Like the corny, we should both be wearing suits and have a little, our morning mugs.
Good morning, Denver.
Good morning, Denver. It's very corny in a lot of cases, but I think it's endearing, and the feedback from you guys has been really good. The support for this show has been really good. So
You guys
I
are
just
awesome.
want to say thank you for that, and we'll do a whole lot more of this stuff in 2019.
Yep. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
I don't know what I'm talking.
All right.
I'm just like, I hope my computer doesn't die.
Yeah, it's dying now. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a
Mwah.
great 2019, and we will see you next year.